Hey there everyone, Vesh here, back again with another video, and in this video I would like to discuss and extend the discussion about the generics in the TypeScript. Now generics are really simple, but for a beginner who have never seen them, especially in the TypeScript, the syntax with different data types can be a little bit confusing, especially when it comes to array and how the array return type works. So I would like to bring you on to the documentation of TypeScript. We'll give you some reference example from here, and then we'll move on to the code part and we'll walk you through that how the arrays work, as well as a small brief introduction about how the arrow functions can be used. So far, we have been creating functions in the TypeScript just using the function keyword, but that's not all. You can actually go ahead and use your arrow functions, and I'll show you the syntax for that in case for those people who are confused about it. So moving back on to the documentation, we opened it up in the last video as well. We see that just above here, we can see that this is all what we have discussed, that the property length and all of that. So this is all good. Now here the examples in the documentation are referring that you cannot just use a dot length on any of the parameter, because it's not a guarantee that it's always going to be an array. It could be string, it could be just a number, and on number we don't have the property of dot length. So this is all what it is saying. Now interesting part comes up here on this part, where we are taking an input parameter as an array. So this is one type how you can take input parameter as an array, and this is also a type how you can take input parameter. Now both of them are exactly same. We have seen that in the last video that there are a couple of ways how we can define arrays, and the second one is also a type and the first one is also a type. But when you actually go ahead and try to build this, it can be a little bit confusing at some of the situations. Let me walk you through with that. So let me take you to the code part, and we are going to define the almost exactly same this example up here. So let me move to the code part. All right, so first what we're going to do is we're going to learn that how we can create or take an input as an array and what could be the possible cases of when we are returning some values. So let's just say we're going to create a method which says get search products. You're searching a product, doing an API call, and through that things are coming in. So we are going to define this as a generic. So obviously this is the first part of how you define generic. This is a template. This is how you write it. Just like you write arrays with the square brackets, this is how you define generics. So far we haven't defined what types of input we are taking, what type of return type we are taking. This is just basics. This is how you define it with an angular bracket and T. Then comes up is the parenthesis, and in this you define that what data type you're expecting in this one. So let's just say somebody is giving us products or a list of IDs, whatever you want to take. That's totally just a generic name. And then I'm going to go ahead and say that, hey, I am taking T as an input, but this is not an ordinary input. I'm taking array as an input. Now, if I go back onto the documentation part, we have seen that this is how you take types as an array, but I can also go ahead and use this array type as well. So both are exactly same. Now, here's the interesting part. The return type is also T, and let's go ahead and try to return something. Now, there could be many cases that what you want to return. Maybe this is a search result. You want to return the search index. So in that case, I would love to return a 3. Which is not correct in this case, because remember I told you this actually locks the value, whatever the value you are taking as an input. So if I return that same type of value as an output, this is not correct. If you want to do something like this, you obviously should have done something like the return value is going to be number, which is an index. But in the case where you want to have the T, then you have to return the product itself. And again, remember, this is an array. So I have to say that, hey, whatever the products are coming up, into that one value should be there. There could be now 3 values. So you're returning the third index, which is 4th value. So this is totally valid and totally fine. But remember, you have to think from a broader perspective. This could be easier for a lot of experienced programmer, but this could be a little tricky for somebody who is just getting started with TypeScript. So remember, the return type is the value that you're taking is an array of T types. So the return value here I'm mentioning is T. So that should be one of the value from that array. Okay, got it. Okay, let's go ahead and make this a little bit better. So what we're going to do is we do some database operations, and then we go ahead and define a value. So we go ahead and say my index is 3. Maybe after returning a lot of complex operations, a method calling this comes up. So we go ahead and call this one as my index. So you get the idea how this is being designed. So this part is all clear. Now how we can convert this exact same function into an arrow function, because this is where the syntax comes up, and this is where when you see or read other people's code on the GitHub, you might find some things confusing. So let's go ahead and clear that up. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this one as simply const, and we're going to call this one as get more search products Yes, you can pick up any name that you like. Now here we go ahead and define this. So what is the syntax of defining a generics in an arrow function method? It's really simple. You first go ahead and define your T just like this. Remember, this is an indication that this is going to come up as a generic. So just like here we did the generic, this is exactly what we do here. After that, we put a parenthesis, any arguments are there or not, then we provide a return type, and then we go ahead and write our definition. So before the definition, this goes like this, there we go. So this is the basic syntax of how we define the arrow function. This is a little bit new. Otherwise, if I go ahead and remove this, this is a classic arrow function. We have seen this many, many times. So in this case, we are going to go ahead and say that, hey, this is a generic arrow method. This is where we take the reference, and after the colon, we define the data type. And then we go ahead and put an arrow function and the definition. Really simple, nothing much. So here also we want to define exactly same. So we're going to go ahead and say, hey, products, and we want to take products as an array. So this can be of any type of array, and the return type is going to be T. It could be number, but in this case, I want to replicate the exact example. So we go ahead and do that. We go ahead and say, do some database operations. And then we go ahead and say my index, and this time the index is going to be, let's just say 4. We are feeling very creative there. And we go ahead and say return, and then we go ahead and say, hey, products. This time we're going to be returning my index again. So you get the idea. This is easier, but you have to look through the big picture up here. So again, if I go ahead and remove this one, this is a regular function. It could take numbers. So I can go ahead and say, hey, this is a numbers array, and I'm going to return a number. Obviously, I have to tweak the definition according to that. But you get the point that how this is being done. So really simple. You have to look through the generics as like, yes, this is also a data type. And this, which is a strange looking thing, is a syntactical sugar. Okay, so this is the basics, what they have tried to define. And once you're taking the input as an array, then obviously through the arguments, you can use the array properties, which are available to them, like length and all these things. So further down, we have generic types as well. So they also walk you through that, how you can create generic types, which we've already seen and all of that. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but this is the most important thing. Now, one last thing before we close this video, you're going to see a lot of code bases like this, and this is not going to produce any error. Now, this comma is there to mention that this is not an ordinary tag like h1 tag or a p tag. This is a generic. And this is a common syntax. You're going to find this a lot, especially people who are working with React. They like to use these generics, and they put this a comma here to mention that this is not a JSX syntax, but rather a syntax for generics. So keep that in mind. You'll see this comma quite a lot in the code bases if you're reading other people's code. So that's it for this video. If you're enjoying this series, hit that subscribe, share the series. This is really important when the value content comes up. We need motivation that people are sharing the entire playlist and series so that we can come up with more. That's it for this one. Let's catch up in next one.